What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 6 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Gorbad Ironclaw Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, the Gobos have debuted, not quite in their final forms, but the Night Goblin army and the Forest Goblin army, at the very least, have started on their way, and one of the regular Gobo armies is also well underway, though this one's a little bit more of a sort of mechanical Goblin ingenuity type army than the other regular Gobbo army that we're going to do, which is going to be a little bit different, a little bit more focused on ranged Gobbos and whatever else we can do to make them interesting with our tactics and stuff. Maybe mix some wolf raiders and chariots in as well. Anyway, in addition to that, we managed to knock out Belagar in a fight with Gorbad, and unfortunately for him, he was in a choke point fight and did not have a particularly good time. You may also notice that I ended the turn between the episodes. That was mostly so that I could move all the billion heroes around. Well, actually, there's not as many of them around, but still wanted to move them around and do a little bit of admin. And one of the heroes, specifically the Scout here, we just named Scout. Mr. Scout has finally found Grimgor. Now, unfortunately, at minus 97, Grimgor is not yet currently super likely to confederate. He's also, funnily enough, not at war with anybody, though he is sitting here and raiding the Karazakarak dwarfs. We're going to have to keep an eye on him. Hopefully, he'll lose a main stack or something, and we'll just be able to confederate him across this vast distance. If not, we're going to have to very slowly march over there and bonk him into confederating, though that would keep us away for a fair bit from the Empire, and we do want to get here. Oh, there is also a landmark here at Nuln, the street racing circuit, though admittedly it isn't anything crazy. I do wish that it offered us some kind of faction-wide buff, but it is what it is. And I do believe that there is, however, a tactic, a plan that gets unlocked by moving a character over there, so I think if this scout doesn't do it, we'll send another scout that way just to, well, scout some stuff out. I'm almost tempted to send this guy, but who knows if this army's going to fight soon. Anyway, speaking of fighting, let's get started, shall we? Mr. Gorbad Ironclaw, you are moving towards Carrick-Ziflin now. We got to find Skarsnik and make sure that these guys can't attack us from this direction. We'll see what Thingrim of Zorn does as well. Alright, do we get factions encountered? Crooked Moon. Alright, let's see what they've got to say for themselves. Diplomacy. Where's Crooked Moon? We are Greenskins, not Savage Orcs. I see Grand Cathay. Why is Greenskins? Okay, it doesn't matter. Crooked Moon. Not doing as well. They're down to 4 settlements and minus 70 still. Alright. They are currently at war with Clan Moors and Clan Verms. A little bit concerning because we are allied with a bunch of Skaven factions, but we'll keep an eye on them. Admittedly, if we see Skarsnik very close by, we might just bonk him because it might be faster since we're already very near him and we're not allied with him either. There's also the Black Spider faction. Just want to take a quick look at Confederation here. We got Bloody Spears, which are 2 settlements all the way over here near Grimgor. Probably not worth our time, though admittedly, we'll think about this later when our public order is in a little bit better shape, but there is the option of taking their territory and then transferring it to Grimgor for a massive increase in our our relationship. It went fairly well with the Badlands Orcs, so there's no reason to assume it wouldn't go so well with Grimgor. The other thing is, you guys have been worried in the comments that I have too many lords up and running. I wouldn't worry too much. The lords for the Greenskins, other than the orc war bosses, are surprisingly cheap. All the Night Goblin war bosses, which make up the vast majority of our Lord units, are only 119. They're cheaper than Orc Boys. They're about as expensive as a unit of Pump Wagons. They're really cheap is what I'm getting at. The Goblin Great Shamans are a little bit more expensive at 240, but at the end of the day, the Greenskin bosses ain't all that expensive, so I'm not super concerned about it. And it's not like we have supply lines to worry about. Anyway, you two keep moving together, though, well, you can keep leeching XP. Once again, I do want to deliver these units to another territory, but we'll wait for now. Alright, you can raid, and 167, 150, it's not much. I'd rather get the XP and the healing. I wonder if we should uncollect the income here. Although we should be able to take Grim Peak rather soon. Maybe we'll be fine. I'm just going to hope we'll be fine. Alright, let's keep moving. Blorg Radar. You guys should be in range of Mermadan. So, you I guess we'll have Argor attack it, because he has siege attacker due to the presence of the river troll hag, whereas Argor can't quite get there in time. We're going to besiege it. We're not going to build anything. I think we're just going to go straight on in rather than wait. I don't like how we're kind of exposed with these territories, so we need to move on to that side as quickly as possible. And thus, you are going to go into March stance, which will admittedly make the battle a little bit harder, or will it? If we transfer the Orc boys to Argor Throat Cruncher, who's supposed to be the one that has them anyway. So you can have at least those guys, and have these guys since you're in March stance. You know what? Get some of those squigs as well. Do we need to transfer the hero? You know, I'm not going to transfer the heroes because everybody has the heroes that they're supposed to have, you know what I mean? Anyway, you're going to move in, and you will have to march stance as well. Like so. Oh, lovely. And I'm just going to double check that you do have the buffs for the orc boys here. Yeah, you got the boys, and you got the big lads, which are coming in. What about you, Giant River Troll? Egg, adorable bigot, fantastic. Spirit Leech, Life Leeching, and I mean, we should at least put 1 point in Soul Blight, though we should max out Replenish Troops, as I do wager we're going to start taking damage here. Though, hopefully you'll level up afterwards. You two don't need to move because I moved you between the turns. We are losing quite a lot of income, but hopefully we'll be able to fix that with a little bit of battling. Before we go in, let's move everybody else around. Luggandaloony. Ah, yes. Okay, so you are going to go to a case, like so, getting ready to move those trolls, whereas Spite Backbiter is going to quickly grab these remnants of battle to see what's going on here, and then you can move towards him next turn, transfer those trolls, and we can start moving. We shouldn't suffer attrition because we will be fighting in a second. Alright, grab this. There is no battle, so I guess we'll take Arabian Arms. You know what, you're probably not going to be fighting for the next 10 turns. Go fill cargo. Hey, Wax Sealed Rations, that's the one I wanted. Fantastic. I mean, it's not much for this army, but it's better than nothing. Lovely. Since we couldn't use any battle buffs. And Bartwork Backbiter, you're the only one left. You are still fairly heavily damaged, unfortunately, due to your lack of River Troll Hag, and thus your inability to heal. And I guess you're better off just sitting here for a turn while we recruit another Night Goblin Squig Hopper. Why was I recruiting a Night Goblin Squig Hopper? Oh, right. I wanted to get you at least a couple Squig Hoppers, maybe a couple Squig Hoppers and a couple Mangler Squigs to work together with this army, as a sort of a generalist type. I guess we could thus get a couple of Squig Herds. Can you recruit Squig Herds? Oh, you can just directly recruit Mangler Squigs. They take 2 turns, though. I don't like that. I guess we could just do the Squig Herds and then wait until they level up by fighting with the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, and then that'll fix the situation. Oh, I also noticed that the Squig Hoppers don't have, they don't have stock. Well, we'll deal with it. Anyway, you guys stay there. We'll recruit if we have the money, which remains to be seen. You are gonna fight. Oh, you're gonna run. You pathetic little coward. You had a half stack. Come on, man. Close victory and medium casualties. So the AI saw that it was close victory and medium casualties for us and still chose to run the half stack away. Still, we got boar boys who have to face off against great swords and no artillery to break down the enemy towers, so we're probably going to have to feed a lot of WAAAGH units to this fight, which will keep it pretty fun. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Mr. Argor Throat Cruncher is in command of his Berserk boys at last. We'll see how well they do once they eventually make it into actual combat, though they're going to have to wait a fair bit, I admit. Now, the enemy garrison is surprisingly decent. 4 units of great swords and 4 units of halberdiers are not anything to sneeze at, especially when, well, we're basically just a pile of regular orc boys, and the great swords would, in theory, be able to tear them to shreds, being tier 3, having solid stats, 100 armor, especially considering that we have effectively very little armor piercing on the orc boys here, but, well, we'll see what we can do. As planned, we're going to start off by sending all of the WAAAGH units up those walls to A, annoy the enemy, and B, distract them as much as possible. There are several other elements of this assault, however. In case that aspect of it fails, and in case we have too difficult of a time breaking through the gate, especially with the enemy mortar supporting those walls, we have our 4 units of nasty skulkers deployed over on this side of the map. They're going to make their way through the gate by having one go over the wall, capture the gate, and allowing all of those nasty skulkers to move inside. We also have the squigs, which aren't going to be particularly useful here where the enemy is blobbed up, but once this gate is open, we will then move the squigs around like this and try to get into the enemy settlement in that manner as well. I figure we don't want to telegraph the attack by moving them prior to having the gate captured, so the squigs can wait. They can reposition themselves fairly quickly after all. Anyway, our orc WAAAGH, or well, not just orc WAAAGH, just general WAAAGH, will be moving towards the enemy walls now, slowly but surely approaching, shields up and taking crossbows and towers, and I think I saw a mortar shell crash down among them as well. How many will survive to actually make it to the wall remains to be seen. It's going to be pretty devastating, but at the end of the day, we've only got a few more turns left of the WAAAGH anyway, and these armies will all just disappear, and, well, may as well use them while we got them. Use them or lose them. I guess use them and lose them, because we lose them either way, that they die or they just disappear. Anyway, it looks like a decent amount of them have arrived at the wall, though it looks like they've taken about, I don't know, half of their HP in damage. And take out those ladders and start climbing and do the best that they can. Of course, this was all just a distraction. Our main line is not yet even on the approach, but our single entities, our 2 river troll hags and both our war bosses are attacking that gate. They will be slow at breaking through it as it is an SFO gate and they take a long time, but at the same time, while the enemy's too busy with the sacrificial WAAAGH units, eventually the gate will fall. Anyway, looks like our first units are making their way up on top of the walls. Their halberdiers will probably be able to hold them off just fine. Got 61 melee defense, and then the orc WAAAGH spears, 32-26. Oh, the stat disparity is horrific. Man, they even have less armor than halberdiers, and halberdiers are not a heavily armored unit by any means. And no, it looks like they'll actually back off and allow some of the great swords to make their way forward. Makes sense, even if the halberdiers would have been able to destroy the orc boys without too much trouble. At the same time, may as well let the great swords cut their way through them, as the great swords will suffer basically no damage whatsoever, being heavily armored and pretty solid statted combatants. On the bright side, though, we also do have 3 units of range here from the WAAAGH, and they will at least help out a little bit. We'll see if they can't dish out damage to at least some of those enemy units that are not particularly resistant to range fire. The enemy gatehouse is at, well, not the gatehouse, the gate is down to 12,000 out of 30,000 HP, so we are certainly working on it. And it looks like the WAAAGH units aren't really making a dent up here, but at the same time, I really enjoy the WAAAGH mechanic just for the ability to do this. Once again, I do wish that, as you guys have pointed out in the comments, it didn't slow armies down. Though on the other hand, I guess it does kind of make sense that a big old WAAAGH following you would be, you know, relatively slow as compared to your main army. Still, it is probably going to be something of a mechanic that we don't use on Gorbad's army a lot, but on other armies, especially to send units up those walls where we don't care about casualties, we're definitely going to put them to use there. And it's always nice when you have a bunch of extra units where you don't care about the casualties, because you can spend them as you please and get these nice shots of them doing things that are otherwise pretty suicidal. Anyway, what do we got over on this side? We've got the first of the units of nasty skulkers making their way up the walls, and we'll begin capturing this gate rather soon. That will mean we can start moving our squigs over there. Telegraphing the attack is no longer nearly as relevant. Our range units are being obliterated by the towers slowly but surely. Our units of orcs and gobs still climbing. Though it looks like most of the orcs have at this point routed. Now, we did send the orcs forward, and the gobs, because they're much more fragile, have moved on the left flank, where a lot of the enemies aren't concentrated. There's sort of two reasons for this. One is just so that they don't die as quick, but the other is so that they draw more units over here, just by virtue of being alive and in the enemy settlement. And we needed to do it to open the gate, which is now finally open, and our single entities, at least, have made their way inside the enemy settlement. Alright, and it looks like without any greatswords or halberdiers protecting them, at least one unit of crossbows is going to get torn to shreds here before the enemy can react. We've also got our 5 units of berserk boys getting ready to move on in and start working on all of this. Alrighty, a little spider riding gob. You know, with the red color scheme of the spiders, and the red color scheme of what we've got, it's a pretty solid color scheme. Good color coordination. Alrighty, and orc boys are all moving in. They know that all those other units got sacrificed, and they will better, hopefully, be able to dish out some damage. They're decently armored at 55 with the upgrades in Metal Storm. And they'll eventually get better upgrades and other aspects to them as well. Especially the 15% ward save once we got a couple of trolls in this army. That'll really make them a lot more difficult to bring down, which is definitely needed because, again, they're basic orc boys. Alrighty, and we do have expendable on them, so at least they won't be them dying, and on occasion I'm willing to bet once they face off against some more elite armies there will be some losses. But them dying won't matter. Anyway, now the halberdiers and the great swords have arrived, and the orc boys will just have to do their best to fight them. I assume that Berserk's first level is active. There we go. Intensity 27%. Time spent engaged in melee. We'll see if it gets them all the way up to Rampage and see how high those stats climb. Obviously, we don't yet have a bunch of stuff in this army that will eventually buff them up as well. It may behoove us to also get a couple of giants in this army as well, just to get the, I want to say, bolstered defense that they offer. In addition to those trolls. I'll think about it. Oh, the river trolls have that stinking stink, don't they? Whatever it's called. The thing, overwhelming odor. -8 to melee attack. I assume it's not just the river troll hags. Because the regular orc boys have very low melee defense. Ooh, up to 69. 81 melee attack. A big WAAAGH plus berserk. Very nice. At least their melee attack is getting up there. We'll see how well they can handle those great swords. They're down to about half HP, which admittedly is pretty good. We're keeping our units alive by popping off Soul Blight to debuff the enemy as well, which is also probably helping the orc boys in terms of dishing out damage. I'm going to move one of the River Troll hags to this side just to make sure that the overwhelming odor is applied evenly to all the enemies around the orc boys. And how are we doing otherwise? Our nasty skulkers have made their way into the enemy settlement, and looks like the first of the skulker units have obliterated an enemy unit of artillery, that one mortar. Now the nasty skulkers will move on in and hunt down any enemy range units in here that they can, while the squigs start rushing through the gate and making their way into the settlement as well. Just look at that big old line of squigs. There's such a funny little unit. And not to worry, Squig. Okay, you get pets. You specifically, Squig. Anyway, yeah, we're getting our Squig army operational probably next episode, I think, because we need to split these armies up, and as soon as the squigs can be separated from the orc boys. Really, we just need a military structure that lets us build a few orc boys. They're not particularly expensive, so it shouldn't change our upkeep drastically. Or at least I hope. Or I guess we'll see. Anyway, looks like the orc boys have made their way through now, and some boar boys from the WAAAGH have joined them as well. Not that we really needed their help. It does look like, unfortunately, our black orc big boss got trapped. He was attacking one of the units of crossbows here, but then got surrounded by some halberdiers. That's alright, though, as our orc boys and our boar boys make their way forward and bail out the black orc big boss. and join the fray. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor. Another unit of nasty skulkers has found a unit of crossbows here, and they should be able to tear them to shreds. They've got really low melee defense, but fairly high melee attack at 48, and solid weapon strength, considering they've got 200 units. They did get a little bit beat up by a unit of handgunners firing upon them while they approached, but now, especially with the help of those squigs, that poor unit of crossbows is done for. Alright, and the rest of the enemy army is starting to run away. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor. One last unit of greatswords here holding ground, and then one last unit, one more unit, I guess, of greatswords up on the ramp above. Though I'm not sure it'll even be necessary to kill them, because if this unit goes down, the critical mass of army losses will probably have been reached, and we might be able to just force them all to shatter. Alrighty, there we go. Black Orc Big Boss fighting with that War Boss there. I'm gonna pop a Spirit Leech on these guys as well, just to damage them even further and even faster. Not the best use, but we don't have a sort of a blob damage spellcaster. We only have the River Troll Hags. And they're mostly here for Spirit Leech and Soul Blight spam, not to do actual spell damage to units. Anyway, there we go with that. That last unit, second last unit of great swords will shatter, and the last one will book it before having any damage done. A really nice siege. We certainly took damage, but we approached it from various directions and had multiple plans going at once. The wall, the sneaky gets letting the piles of squigs through the gate, and well, only one of them had to succeed, as the rest of them would have otherwise succeeded by virtue of one succeeding and helping the rest out. So, lovely. Alright, there we go. Decent little bit of damage on one of our orc boys. This is the one that was first through the gate, but it's also why it was able to deal the most damage. 169 kills and 13k. Pretty solid compared to everybody else, and it looks like another one of the orc boys, the Berserk boys here, and did very well as well. The wall was obviously sacrificed and thus did basically no damage at all, but they were distracting the enemy units on the walls and providing us entertainment, which is the real purpose of all of these guys. Anyway, we are going to... Wow, 10,000 for sack value. Huh. That's a lot. That is a real lot. That could invest into several provinces, and this province isn't ready yet. I'm gonna say sack it. It's too good. And oh man, I was hoping to stop you moving. Hopefully somebody can still reach the place and immediately occupy it. You can. Lovely. Occupy. And let's see, it is damaged. How much is it the repair? How much is the repair going to cost? 3,000. And alright, so we made some money. Is it worth it? I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen, because now we've got provincial instability for a while, so we're going to have to deal with that aspect of it. But at the same time, we have to wait until we have to build the boss's tent. Anyway. Alright, and Warboar for Rend. Oh, well, you fought on top of the wall, and now you get a Warboar as your reward. Pretty good. As to whether you're going to stay on it, that remains to be seen, however, because... you are probably going to be part of this army. You've got the Orky trait, and thus buffs for the Orc boys. This is the Berserk Orc boy army. And we still need the... I keep forgetting. Oh, right, we need the Black Regiment, or Black Battalion. This thing. And they need 2 Black Orcs for it. Immovable Bulwark and Unstoppable Choppas for all... Oh, it's for all Orc infantry. Huh, interesting. It doesn't specify, but I don't particularly like the loss of the ballistic, well, not the ballistic blade, the loss of 50% mass seems kind of major, but, well, it should still be pretty interesting. We'll see how well it works on these guys once we get the 2 Black Orcs, which are currently in Spite Backbiter's army. Anyway, we got a little bit of money after that, so we could probably spend a little bit on making a little bit more money for ourselves. Still need these bosses' shacks everywhere, though. Ooh, we just straight up upgrade Thessos to tier 4. Granted, it's not generating a lot of cash right now, but it will be a decent cash province because it's got all these docks. So I guess, yeah, fine. We'll upgrade the Greenskin Fort and the Greenskin Port. Or dogs. Alrighty. And I think there was at least a couple more cheap upgrades that we could do, like the Horde here. Probably a couple more of those. Just gotta be careful about going overboard. Let's see what we got. You. Raid and hideout. In 3 turns we could upgrade Hanging Rock to tier 4, but we're okay. You will also probably want to get one of these goblin camps for more goblin big bosses. We need so many goblin big bosses. Eventually we won't need as many, but for now we do. Citadel of Mermadan, you look okay. We got, another Horde here. Another Horde there. And I can't say I like the loss of public order, but we need the money more than the public order, so it is what it is. Your public order is okay, and you can upgrade the raiding hideout. No. We could wait until upgrading you to tier 5. You know what? Maybe we should wait then. This would be our first tier 5, and the good thing about this is... Oh, you know what? Keep this up and running. I was going to put a... we need more river troll hags. You know what? Keep it there. We'll delete it later. If you could be our first tier 5, that would enable us to build a tier 5 Gobbo Tower and possibly whatever other tier 5 things, which would unlock a few of these things, some of which are quite nice. Charge defense versus large for all boys would be a decent upgrade. I assume that you already have charge you have charge defense versus large already on the spear variant, but not on the regular orc boy variant, so that's a decent little upgrade. Granted, for scrap, immunity to psychology for all gobs is just by itself super worth it. Reload time and armor-piercing missile resistance, or armor-piercing melee damage rather, for all squigs and gobs. Great. Plus 40% charge bonus for trolls and such. And all savage orcs. There's some good stuff in there. So it certainly behooves us to research it anyway. I think we've spent the money that we needed to spend, or at least the money that we're willing to spend this particular turn, so we'll outpost. Oh, that's our new Cornate allies. As long as they stay friendly, for now. Let's end the turn.
Words. That's all you're getting.
Declare war, Karakharn. Alright, well, that was always going to happen. It is unfortunate right now because he has a full stack and probably jump towards us. We'll probably, we might have to actually send Glugzag and this army to deal with this, which is pretty interesting. Maybe we'll sack this and then move back in. After sacking it, these guys might be freaked out enough to let us do it. Interesting. I think we will not call our allies for this. While we do want the extra allegiance, the problem is I fear the Crimson Skull don't like us enough right now and would probably say no to it, and I'd rather not risk losing their units, so... Alrighty, well, the war aspect of this is interesting. Bugman's Brewery destroyed, and we weren't the ones to do it. Funnily enough, it was the Man-Eater's Ogres. It's still weird. I feel like the inability to ally with man-eaters when you're not playing them, as in when they're the AI, is a mistake on the devs' parts. I think they should make them allyable, as I don't see why you couldn't potentially ally with them, especially if you're paying them plenty of money. Maybe have them give them some kind of money-based ally. I don't really care. I just feel like it would be nice to get access to their units. And yes, we could go to their camps and get some of their units, but otherwise, kind of meh. I might betray them and kill them all just because of it. Which, you know, feels unnecessary, as I wouldn't dislike them as an ally. Anyway, faction destroyed Blue Vipers. Oh, they didn't even offer to confederate. Well, that's what happens. You don't confederate, and then you get wiped out. I guess they are savage orcs, so, you know, the dumb. And also they'll come back anyway. The dumb TM. Anyway, next tech. Now... I was thinking about going for Fata Pigs, since we're using a fair bit of Boar Boys right now in our main stack, and I feel like that should still be the case, although the other option would be to go through Trollin and then Uglock the Orrible. The other thing, though, is that we can't afford him right now, anyway, and his Boar Boy-centric army, as that's the Boar Man. We have Spider Gob, we need Boar Orc. No. Anyway... I'm just stupid. Better arrowheads is also pretty good. You know what? It's only 3 turns. Let's go for fatta pigs. Come on, you gotta have fatta pigs. The Gorbad's army. You're up next. You are heading to Carrick Ziflin. Is this a walled settlement? It is not. A tiny little, barely defended location. And this one I think we can auto-resolve. Let's just make sure that we move little old Morglis to... Oh, I left those guys in raiding stance, didn't I? No, I didn't. Huh. Good job, past me. I thought I had screwed that up, but apparently not. I surprise myself sometimes. Oh, there's another freaking territory here. Okay, wait. We need to separate these guys. We have too much going on right now. You're not able to recruit regular boys, unfortunately, eh? Oh, tactical boys get berserk as well? That's kind of interesting. Of course, the problem is that they'll get rampage, but... This is time spent engaged in melee. Huh. Argor, we might actually have another army that could use a few tactical boys as your range. I mean, Go figure. Of course, we'll want some more orc boys. Those 2 black orcs. And maybe a few spears. Just to go anti-large. I'm liking the idea of this army. Alrighty, yeah, we'll deal with those guys in a second. Let's do stuff from the top, shall we? Was there a reason why I looked away? Oh, right, I had thought that perhaps I had screwed things up by allowing the other guys to remain in... 3k probably would cost us just as much to repair it, so it wouldn't bother... Oh! Huh. I thought you were tier 2. Whoops. Maybe I should have sacked it then, my bad. Alrighty, don't need the idols there, don't collect the income, and we'll start moving towards that Skarsnik lair. I would have preferred to have kept this at tier 2, but whatever. Carrick Yar is tier 2. Wow, these guys poorly developed the place. Come on, this is 8 peaks. Huh. Marble resources 20 slabs. Oh, I see. That's a little bit unfortunate. The buildings, the special locations here, aren't unique in that you get the same ones whether you're dwarfs or you're orcs or whatever. Because I noticed that you get the Winds of Magic power reserve capacity for dwarfs, which is completely useless, and then we get the resources, but our faction can't trade. Go figure. Alright, you're not able to reach Grimpeak. Somewhat concerning, I will admit. Nonetheless, you gotta go forward, but I think... Well, actually, see if they'll be willing to sally out and attack us. We should be able to chase them down and kill them. And this is Spider Army, after all. You guys are waiting for rank 8, I believe, to buff up all of the spiders and the gobos and the whatevers. And I guess thus you'll have to remain as you are. Alrighty, Blorg. Oh man, I was going to avoid dealing with you for a few seconds, but apparently not so much. Alrighty, you... Go right here. Max distance. Just double checking. Okay, now there's... Oh, you're over here. We're gonna send somebody to wipe Black Buckthorn out. We're gonna get a great battle out of it. It's just that we're busy right now, so can't do it. You're gonna go here. No. Go into March stance. Go here. And then pick up those trolls so Lugandeluni can return to be recruiting. Lunally, I might add. Alright, can't wait to transfer these guys out. I guess we can't really separate the armies until we transfer them. This is a problem, however. There's a lot of units there. I could just not separate the... But Mermadans can't really defend itself, and... Are you at sea still? Huh. I could try to move towards them, but the problem is these guys then might sail out and attack us. I don't know if we want to be risking that right now. Oh, you can't reach them anyway. You can jump over here. Maybe that is the best option. There's not a lot here, but you still have your WAAAGH for at least a few turns, such as it is. And maybe we can keep these guys around and... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna risk doing it like this. You are gonna jump by yourself out here. You're gonna quickly take Verdanos and... I don't like that. These guys might suddenly declare war on us, but I'm hoping to take Verdanos and Tanea with you, and these guys can hopefully just sit here for a little bit and then defend the place. Don't raid, just sit here. Warg, you are supposed to join the other Night Goblin, Big Boss, and Muncha Edbut's army, preparing for their own stack. so you can increase mobility. And then Durbach, you're moving in here. You have Unbreakable. Oh, you know, you have Big Stick. But either way, you're supposed to join the Orky army. Go here. Oh, wait. There's actually several things that you buff. I need to see this 1 second. I need to double check what exactly you buff, because technically you do buff trolls, but, well, you also buff savage orcs. I'm just wondering whether this would be more useful in the army with the... Well, yeah, okay, fine. We'll put you in the army with the trolls and the orc boys. It's the same army there, not with the gobos and the trolls. Alright, well, Blorg, you're just gonna sit there, buddy, and everybody else is gonna sit near you. Glugzag, you... I see that Mr. Kazran Grimbrow has not yet jumped down towards us, and... Huh? Oh, it wasn't him that declared war on us, it was these guys. He's probably going to declare war on us soon, too. Kurgan Grunson, would you be able to take Vidovdan? Probably not. We're going to need to send an army here, and I fear that this army won't be able to do it. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Alright, fine. Bartorg, I guess you're the only option. I was going to send you up to deal with these jerkos, but you're the only army that's more or less ready to move right now, so you're the only army that's going to move. Alright, so you're going to go here. You are going to march stance your way to Borovska. WAAAGH, you're going to transfer some stuff. Alright, then the Snotling pump wagons are not needed in this army now. You can take the pump wagons, and I assume you can recruit 2 basic units of... funnily enough, if I had started the Mangler Squigs last turn, I would have been able to do it, but whatever. We'll upgrade the regular Squigs to them. You, WAAAGH. Okay, we need to figure out what needs to be up... Well, I guess all of these guys can be upgraded into archers, so we don't need the regular non-fanatic variants. They do have the nets, but not as useful in this army. We'll probably use the net Knight Gobos in another army. Probably one that... I have to think about what kind. Probably one that's a little bit heavier on range. Maybe we'll do range Knight Goblins, then the River Trolls for the tactic that combines them, and then some of these Knight Gobs with their nets. In melee. Yes. Good, Ruinous, good. Anyway, we'll go for the Knight Goblin Archers. This army, frankly, needed more archers anyway, and then we'll actually have to get rid of 2 units in order to replace them with the Squigs, but that might have to happen in a couple turns, because they gotta start moving. You Knight Gobs cannot be upgraded into anything useful for us here, can you? Meaning, we're going to get rid of you, because we can't afford too much extra right now. You 2 are going to get transferred, and I also forgot who's who here. Deshrumiest and... Oh, you're both Deshrumiest. You're just here to recruit and eventually be replaced, ain't ya? Yeah. You, Blorg, have the... Bartorg, rather, have the Cleverest, which gives us range, which is why we needed the extra range units in here. Alright, I guess... We'll need more wolves, but for now we can recruit some cheap regular gobos, because we'll need them. Let's do... 2 of these, just out of curiosity. These guys can be upgraded to Goblin Wolf Rider Chariots, and then... Wait, no, that's Wolf Rider Archers, which can be upgraded into Chariots. Yeah, okay, so basically we just need the basic gobos to fill up the ranks here. Frankly, then we wouldn't need the extra pump wagons in here unless this army is to fight, but we might move them to fight temporarily, so let's keep getting gobos, like so. And then we'll deal with it after. Alright, Blorg. Wait, I already Blorged you. Or you Blorged me. Everybody Blorg everybody. Thorgrim has moved in. If you could just declare war on Thorgrim, that would be fantastic, Grimgor. Come on now. Karazakarak, 9.1. We could threaten him into it, but otherwise I don't think he's gonna do it. Oh, Red Fangs are ready for a confed. Oh, I wasn't going to do this yet. And yet... I guess we gotta, don't we? Somebody said that Gorfang Rotgut is a unique lord in this, so, and plus it's Black Crag. We gotta have Black Crag, right? Oh, this is gonna hurt our public order so much, but it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. Take it.
I'm listening.
And oh, they went a little bit further into the mountains than I was hoping they would. This might thus be a decent opportunity to confederate a few other territories. Alright, first of all, let's figure out what we have here. We have the biggest. which is very good. We will be using that in the late game. You are the cleverest, which is decent as well. And hey, short victory, +1 hero capacity. Yes. Really needed more night goblins and goblin big bosses. Yeah, speaking of night goblins, you're a poisoner. Kind of meh. I mean, it's not really meh, it's just that we have others that we need to make use of. Alright, what do you have? Shaman's Hovel? Delete. Pile of shiny stuff. I guess we'll want to build Morzen's Wall. I guess it is a +1 melee defense faction-wide, although it's probably super 7,000 gold. It's going to be a long time till we do that. I guess keep the heap of shiny stuff and don't collect your money here. Alright. Let's see what else we got here. Black Crag. Now, we need to be tier 5 for this, but the +2 control faction-wide and the diplomatic relations with Greenskins might enable us to confederate. This is kind of the edge of our territory, and I don't want to move too much further. I don't know if these guys will be confederatable. Eventually they will. Let's do a non-aggression with them now, though I fear that the Skaven are going to dislike us for doing this. You know what, let's leave it alone. Again, I really don't want to just spend all of our time fighting over the mountains. As odd as that may sound from pile of orcs. We can actually trade Broken Axe Speak to these guys. It's not worth a lot, and I'm willing to bet that it'll help out. We'll just take all the money they're willing to offer. Yeah, just do it. It's not a lot of money, but it's not a really useful territory. It completes their province, but we're not going to ally. Even though this gift is probably going to piss off the Skaven anyway, this will at least counteract the Confederation thing. Alright, out here we have... This is the garrison building at Unduzgar, eh? I mean, it is decently likely to get attacked, but on the other hand, if these guys are here, it's really only the Skaven that might attack us, and they'd go through School Mines first anyway, so they'd just do that. Black Crag. You can maintain your defensive garrison, however, we will build the... Actually, that is a fairly decent garrison. You know what, just keep it for now. Maybe we'll get rid of the Night Goblin hovels here instead. But again, they'll attack School Mines first. But I do like the fact that this place is generating a lot of money. Oh, I guess this Black Crag is a unique settlement, so we need more cash here. Alright, keep the Stomping Grounds because we need them. This is not a useful place for the boar pens. Black Orc Barracks would be fine, I guess. Oh, this is Stunty Mine. Oh, that's what's making us money. Okay, now it's... But we really don't want to lose those cool mines. We don't need the Sacred Spider Grounds here. We'll keep the stakes and we'll invest in the monetary aspects of this particular territory. We will obviously need Camp Ruckus. And there we go. Did I move everybody? Okay, Scout, do you actually need to move any further? You found Grimgor. And we could pass through Karakadrin on the way to WAAAGH, though it's going to take you a long time too. Well, nonetheless, wait. Would it actually be faster to move like this? No, probably not. Alright, you're gonna go find WAAAGH now. You've started scouting, you may as well continue scouting. 'Tis your job, this is what you're purpose-built for. Even though we didn't build you. And it wasn't on purpose. Alrighty, do we have anything interesting in these armies that needs to be transferred? I don't think so, we can't afford them anyway, so I think you, sir, are going to lose that idle Carva, and we're gonna delete. And we are going to reset you, but we'll bring you back soonish to lead a new army. Masha! Oh, also, we did reach the engagement threshold, and we will thus be doing a longer episode again, and the engagement threshold remains at 300 likes and, I believe, 50 comments for the next episode to be longer as well. Anyway, you, kind of hard to concentrate. You will be reset as well. The cleverest is decent. Alright. That's a little bit better. Frankly, Black Crag alone is fixing our money situation a teensy bit, so yeah, I'm gonna need to make good use of it. Now, the thing is, we can do multiple confeds, so I'm inclined to say maybe we confederate those guys as well. And by those guys, I mean the Bloody Spears. Like so. Even if we give up their territories to Grimgor. Alright, how did that do? Alright, that didn't do too much. Let's see what we're looking at here. We got another Greenskin. There's a lot of Greenskins running around, ain't there? We got Glowpit, which is barely any money making, but it is fairly decently well defended. It's got stakes, it's got the rat trappers. We can basically use it for Boss's tent. You know, it's not bad. It's a tier 4 too. Demolish the spider building. And build a heap of shiny stuff, and the place should eventually fix itself. We have you, some more bits. You're a goblin big boss with Wiggler. We can actually use you. Not in this army, but definitely come back. You're on the team, sir. Skunk. What about you? We should, in theory, go to take Dead Rock Cabin. Wow. This is a nice military province. Again, I can't collect any money, and we are going to have to replace the shaman. So, you know what? No. Replace the boar sty with a public order building. We will need more shamans, though we do have a decent amount of it now. We do have another big stick. I wish we could afford a few more right now, as I would otherwise build a few. You, sir, what are you? Another de cleverest. Alright, unfortunately, again, the money situation means that we're going to have to delete all this. And reset you. Alright, there we go. 174. I can't believe we're positive. Now, out of curiosity, can either Mount Silverspear or Glopit be traded to Grimgor? No. I really just want a massive influx of public order with him, so I guess we'll have to wait. And then the last question is, do we now confederate the Broken Nose, or whatever these guys are called? Oh, they used to have 2 stacks, and they've lost them to Kemler, right? Huh. What if we were to confederate or peace out with Kemler? We're very near to this territory, though, now, and if it's not these Greenskins, these guys that we're fighting, it's these guys, we might be able to keep moving here, meaning... WAAAGH, you're going to attack Khazad Citizen. It's a tier 3. And we will fight this. Sacrifice the WAAAGH, and yeah, we could auto-resolve, but Kemler has 4 armies nearby, and we need to be careful about that. Fight battle. Alrighty, here we go. Another battle against the undead for this particular army. I'm going to call it the Goblin Ingenuity Army. And in fact, in that light, it might behoove us to use a couple of spider Arachnarok flingers rather than giants in here. Now, the giants would give that lovely immunity to psychology and the defensive buffs for the goblins, but the spiders would more so fit the theme, I think, of goblin ingenuity, especially since we're going to keep the rock lobbers, keep the pump wagons, and put some doom divers in. The flingers and the artillery on that howdah also kind of makes sense for these guys. Probably the way that we're going to end up doing it. Anyway, we've started the battle up by heavily damaging the enemy Vargeist. We hit them with 2 spells, the Spirit Leech and the Vindictive Glare. And then we'll continue firing upon them with our units of bolt throwers. They're probably not going to do too much, but with a little bit more spell work, we should be able to bring these things down. Especially since this is a garrison, the enemy has a vampire, and thus not a lord, so while they do have access to Spirit Leech, they don't have Invocation of Nahek, and we should be able to bring those Vargeists down before they can do anything. I did not notice this, but the enemy has a black coach. It's hidden because, well, it's in stock. So that's going to be a concern when it actually reaches our lines. It could probably kill droves of our units of gobs if we let it. Oh well, another Spirit Leech comes down on the Vargeists while the bolt throwers continue firing, just hoping to start them disintegrating here. They're very close to it, in critical binding at least, just a little bit more damage. There we go, they've started crumbling. Not yet disintegrating, but at least that effectively signals their doom, as I don't think we're going to stop attacking them. This also means that we can switch our second bolt thrower to the enemy Crypt Horrors, which have taken about 25% of their damage, not from the bolt thrower, mind you. I think you might have been able to predict that, but rather from the, another Vindictive Glare. Our artillery continue to fire on the enemy, if nothing else to keep as many of the enemies back as possible, and it's time to charge towards those big Crypt Horrors. Interesting to see that the pump wagons are actually able to knock them to the ground. And between the pump wagons and the piles of goblins with spears, who may be basic, but hopefully should be enough to destroy a single unit of crypt horrors, while the latter are already damaged. The Vargheists have landed, but they've got like 5% of their HP remaining, and should be crumbling away. In fact, we're by and large going to ignore them, and instead allow them to crumble, while we head for the bats that have touched down upon our piles of artillery. Luckily for us, that's another reason why we keep our pump wagons back in this particular army, and they quickly surround and destroy the bats without any trouble. That said, it looks like the droves of enemy Graveguard have arrived. We're going to drop Itchy Nuisance on all 5 of them here, which will allow us to fight in a relatively decent shape while they can't hurt us that much. And over on the right flank, the Black Coach has arrived. Fortunately, we were able to catch it in time, surround it with the pump wagons, thereby preventing its escape. Anti-large from the Goblin Spears. Actually, I don't remember if the Goblin Spears actually have anti-large. Yes, they do. Just a very tiny bonus. Anyway, the anti-large from the Goblin Spears, and then being surrounded and armor sundered by the pump wagons, prevented the very threatening Black Coach from doing anything. Alright. Now we just gotta worry about the big old pile of Graveguard that are still in the fight. A few good charges from our pump wagons, however, should start hurting them a little bit. And we got our WAAAGH units on the field as well. So, some orcs, i.e. boar boys at first, have joined the gobos and snotlings. And now I think it's just a matter of time. The bounce power shifts to about 90% in our favor, and it looks like all the Graveguard on the battlefield have begun to disintegrate. One unit was never able to approach us, as we were providing a nice bit of area denial by continuously attacking it with our artillery. And granted, our artillery ain't great, but it's good enough for this purpose. Plus, the sort of basic units, they have to work for their wins, and that's what makes early game battles really, really fun all the time. Alrighty, just a few more of those Graveguard and we'll be good to go. The bounce power is 100% in our favor, and just these last ones must disintegrate. And there's a few more over on this side as well. And it looks like the Goblin Ingenuity army carries another day. Lovely. Alright, a really nice fight, and well done by the Gobbo army. Relatively minimal damage considering the disparity between the quality of units, as in the Graveguard are obviously much better than the most basic of basic Gobbos. Of course, we do have our line of pump wagons here to buff them up, and we did okay on at least our rock throwers. Still kind of man. The Goblin bolt throwers did some damage to the Vargheists, not as much damage as spells, but they did something. I will still replace them with Doom Divers, but they did something. We'll put the we'll put the Goblin Bolt Throwers in support for an all-ranged army. I think it'll be the superior option. Anyway, we're gonna try sacking the place again. 5,000 is a lot, and I want to see something. Stop. Okay. Can you still get there? Oh, you're out of range, darn. And it does stay at tier 3, as somebody pointed out in the comments, and oh, you get another swindler. And I do appreciate that, though I do have to wonder whether the repairs will be enough. Man, better can't take it immediately, but whatever, we'll raid. We'll have to auto-resolve it next turn, I guess. I'm wondering whether the repairs will have allowed us to make some money or not. In theory, at the baseline, it should be the exact same cost, if I recall correctly. As in, if you sack something, the amount that you get from sacking it would be the same as it would take to repair stuff. However, because of our post-battle loot climbing, it should eventually overtake it by a considerable amount, unless I'm mistaken, so we just gotta keep building the raiding hideouts as we've been doing so far, and eventually, hopefully, it'll work out. Anyway, that brings us back to the big question, or one of the big questions. Do we confederate these guys or no? I wonder if Kemmler will push towards WAAAGH now. How many more turns? We got 4 more turns of the WAAAGH. Is anybody friendly nearby? We do still have Clan Fester, who is still reasonably fond of us. And they're not holding any territory that we care about. We are getting a little bit uncomfortably close to the wood elves here, though. So again, I wonder if it would be beneficial to us to actually occupy these territories. You know what, maybe we'll wait. Let them do their thing here. They're also at war with Kemmler, so they might distract each other, and if later on we need to kill them or confed them, it'll be fine. I don't want to overexpand. We're already kind of in a bit of hot water in that regard. Anyway, let's see what else we can do now that we have a little bit of money to spend to make a little bit more money next turn. You're fine. I mean, I guess we could upgrade you. We could save. I mean, it's only 1 point. Yeah, you know what? Just wait for it. It's not critical. Your public order is okay, but frankly, I think we should still get additional public order. Darn that confed. Anyway, you, public order. Yeah, keep going for the public order. It's needed everywhere. You have military presence for now, but it won't be there next turn. Kipper said, love to upgrade to tier 4, but we'll wait for it for now. Yes, obviously, to the upgrading of the Gabo tunnels. Yes to you, yes to the Raiden hideout, and I guess yes to the boss's camp as well. Alright, what do we have here? Ah, more Gabo tunnels, and Gabo City in particular. In fact. That should be good. Aha, more Raiden hideouts and more of Dalutan hordes. Wait, Aldium... You're close to tier 4, but I think you won't give us too much value out of that tier 4 right now, so I'd rather just upgrade more Raiden stashes and get more money. Broken Tooth Camp, you have either a raiding stash or a pile of shiny stuff that needs to be added. I'm going to say start with a raiding stash. We can do another pile of shiny stuff later. Barak Var, yes to the public order. And we'll hold off on upgrading you two to the tier 3s. And just gotta keep an eye on our money. Thessos, yes to the boss's check. And I think that's about it. Well, I guess we could upgrade Hordebane Forest. It should be reasonably cheap. Alright, see if any more... Aha, Flying Fortress. Oh, you're gonna be a military territory. Again, at least start on the boss's tent, which isn't crazy expensive. Mermadans... I guess we can upgrade the Horde, but you know what? Let's wait. I think that's it. All right. Let's keep it positive, as in the income, but also the everything. Anyway, building upgrade available. Garrison Lore not moved. Dead post available. Double check Diplo, which I don't remember if I did with the regular Diplo this turn. Crooked Moon is willing to be friendlier, but if we're going to bonk Skarsnik, which is a possibility, we can't afford to ally with them. Moors is reasonably okay with us, and frankly, if we hold all of 8 Peaks anyway, might just ignore Moors and let them do their thing. Just so that we don't specifically repeat the
How can you best serve
Thorgrim campaign, which is possibly the best campaign on the channel. But anyway, Moonhowlers will ignore for now. They probably won't like our friendliness with Moors. Rictus, how do you feel about Grimgor? I don't care about each other. No diplomatic contact. Alright, we can be friends with Rictus as well. Gorbad has his sights on the Empire, not the little wars of the mountains, I guess. Clan Scar was willing to offer us a fair chunk of change for military access. We'll certainly take it. And they want defensive alliance, eventually probably military alliance up with this faction here, but whatever. Alright, for now, they gave us a little bit more money, but I think we'll wait until next turn, because who knows what'll happen to our money next turn. Let's end the turn. I would imagine that these dwarfs will definitely attack Grom. In fact, let's see if we can't give him any items. You, Spider Gob. You need a talisman and basic armor. You are a legendary character, but generally speaking, we should probably still save the big items for the lords. So you could use a talisman of endurance, maybe? We are kind of sending you directly in to assassinate jerks. Oh, we have Potion of Farsight. I guess we can get rid of the Potions of Strength. They're fine, I just think that there are better items, like the Potion of Healing, for example. Alrighty. Don't care for the Sword of Swift Sling, but there's nothing to turn it into. Shield of Talos, don't really care for it as well. Featherfoe Torque, probably not something we're going to get too much use out of in this particular campaign. We don't have much of an air force, and thus will not be establishing air superiority. Granted, yes, if enemy flyers land upon us, this would be helpful, but nonetheless, use it. And Fencer's Blades, it's a nice pickup. Probably the Fencer's Blades will go on the various Goblin Great Shamans when they're on their Spider Shrines. They will be fighting. That said, I don't think there's any supporting item that we can help you with right now. Armor Fortune is going to go to Fighty Lords. I mean, technically, once you're on the Spiders, you're also going to be Fighty Lords, but you don't have those yet. I guess technically we'll want a Razor Standard in pretty much any army that has any kind of infantry, so you can have that. And I believe there's nothing else. Alright, well, let's get ready to fight. Let's see if you can survive. Oh, wow, you're making 1,000 gold per turn? Not bad. Not bad at all. I don't know how much this place will be worth. Yeah, we'll see. End turn. Alright, unsurprisingly, they will indeed attack us. Now, we have one big, massive, major concern, and that is the frickin' flame cannon. It's got 250 range, so we would in theory have some time to damage it, though at the same time the grudge throwers will be damaging us. Either way, I think it'll be a great fight, and we're definitely gonna fight it. A Razor Standard gonna go on one of the central units of Forest Gobs. Could actually work nicely on the Cav as well. But the Cav will do decent damage regardless, so I think that's what we'll do. Anyway, I'm excited for this one. Well, although I've been excited for all of them. Go.
Smash him!
Alrighty, here we go. We got a big old pile of Dowie against us, and we certainly do have to be careful. None of their units are to be underestimated. Even their quarrelers are likely able to outfight our forest goblins, and thus we have to be careful as to how we approach the fight. And we also, of course, have that Grudge Settler Flame Cannon, a couple of Grudge Settler Great Weapon Quarrelers, as well as a pretty solid garrison stack coming in. What we do have going for us is the fact that the garrison stack is coming in as a reinforcement, and it's going to take a bit of time for it to get here. We have Spiders, Vanguard deployed and getting ready to hit the enemy in the back line, at least prevent those Quarrelers firing. And speaking of preventing enemies from firing, we've sent in all of our Goblin Big Bosses, or our 2 Goblin Big Bosses, and then Spider Gob himself. Spider Gob will begin dueling the enemy Lord, but more importantly, summon a unit of Spiderlings on top of one of the enemy units of the Miners with blasting charges. The Spiderlings will get ripped apart pretty much immediately, within seconds, having achieved nothing, but they did stop those units of Miners from firing, which allowed our units of Forest Goblins to close, without taking blasting charges to the face, which are obviously super dangerous to these guys. And now that we have the anvil of the regular Forest Gobs, these Spider Riders smash into the enemy back line. There we go, and trapped between Forest Gob and Spider, and Forest Gob riding Spider, the Quarrelers should get torn to shreds, rather than being able to take advantage of the fact that they're decent melee combatants. And it looks like this first army is pretty much done for. The fire from the units of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, again, mouthful, was providing decent little bit of support, and because they've got poison on their arrows, debuffing the enemy, while we've also got the lethal poison on the melee units. Effectively, these guys weren't used to harass the enemy army, since we needed to attack them here, rather than what we would normally do. And it worked out pretty reasonably well. Alright, love seeing all the different little spiders running around. We'll be seeing a lot more of that later on when we move the Spider Gob into a spider, spam army. One more spiders, and led by Arachnic Spider Claw. Anyway, looks like this first army is destroyed. Spider Gob's going to do his best to chase down the enemy Lord, and just generally speaking, we're going to do our best to completely wipe out every single unit here. Our Spider Rider Archers, however, are going to do what they weren't able to do during the battle against the first enemy army, which is harass the enemy army all the way towards us, as in while they approach. And considering the dwarfs are slow in the first place, poison's going to slow them down further, and then going through and then climbing uphill is going to slow them down even further than that. So this should give us plenty of time to reposition, regroup, and also kill off the enemy army. Lovely, and it looks like the enemy army's pretty much been destroyed. Willing to bet that Spider Gob should be able to take down the enemy lord here. Also very weird to see the regular goblin big bosses. Not on spiders yet, but they'll get their spiders eventually. At least there's that, even if they don't look like forest goblins. Alrighty, now, you were supposed to die. One more hit. There we go. Nice poke there, Spider Gob. The enemy lord is done for, while the other enemy army is still very much on the approach. Gonna speed this up a little bit while we allow them to move forward and harass them a little bit more. There we go. Possibly not very interesting to just see the occasional arrow drop among them and do very little damage, admittedly. Again, since we have a regular poison, it is nice that they help debuff the line, but it isn't nice that while they do that, they do not have that, not area of effect, but damage over time anymore. It's all good though. Every little bit counts, and besides, if we run out of ammunition having done this, it's not too bad of a thing either. I wonder if, no, I was wondering whether we should make Arachnic Spider Claw's eventual army be more melee focused than range focused, but Spider Gob does give these guys snipe and other nice buffs as well, so we should be making use of them. Anyway, I've also got the Snagla's Death Thrower here. There we go, throwing death as they do. Let's, well, at least these guys will be able to apply some of that damage over time. Lethal poison, maybe knock out a few of the Dowie as they approach. I like all the spider webs around the bow of the ballistas there. It's pretty nice. Anyway, speaking of ballistas, or speaking of enemy artillery, or just artillery, we have once again sent our spiders around. They're really, really quick, 95 speed and strider. So they are very quickly able to reposition themselves where they need to be. They run out of that forest, and they obliterate this poor artillery crew, while the enemy army is long moved away. Oh, they did keep a unit of quarrelers back. Bad idea on their part, to be perfectly frank, simply because we should thus be able to surround and destroy that quarreler unit, since it's completely isolated. Alright, Bolt Thrower and our Spider Rider Archers continue to drop their arrows upon the enemy, though our Spider Rider Archers are nearly out of ammunition now, which probably means we'll be sending them into melee rather shortly. Spider Hatchling unit moved in just to distract the enemy a teensy bit. Sacrificial unit as it is. And it looks like battle is nearly ready to be joined. We are also once again going to send the Sneaky Purple Riders and the Greaser Jumpers melee units of Spider Riders around, as we got two Thunderers thundering away. Alright, and here come the Forest Gobs smashing into the Dwarfen battle line. Just as they move, we will activate the WAAAGH and Spider Gob in to reinforce them. And the battle is joined once more. Time to get the range units, especially the Death Creepers, in. Especially because they have that toxic venom on their melee attack. And that they're out of ammunition, but that they also provide a little bit of extra mass to the melee line. And that's going to be really helpful here, as it'll take thus longer for the enemy to deal with our forest goblins, our regular ones. Anyway, the enemy backline is now distracted as our melee spiders have moved their way in, and the two Thunderers grow silent. And we'll see how well they handle themselves in melee. The major weakness of the rather inflexible AI when it plays dwarfs is the fact that it can't overcome the fact that dwarfs are a highly immobile army. And thus you can take advantage of that and get around them and attack them effectively from every side. Regardless of the fact that their troop quality is vastly superior to the forest goblins, it doesn't matter as the units get surrounded and obliterated. The balance of power shifts 100% in our favor, and just like that, the spider gobs, or the forest gobs, carry the day. Beautiful. And we should have the time, since the garrison unit, and since we have a fast poison-causing army, we should be able to run down and kill off every single dwarf here. Everybody will have a nice beard for a, I don't know, cloak or to mop up spider venom, I don't know. All right, very, very nice, and we got 7,500 gold out of that as well. The additional whatchamacallums, Raiden stashes are continuing to work for us. More post-battle loot. It must be done. Anyway, the Dawi severely underestimate the power of Spider Gob and just forest goblins in general. I remember in my Grimgore campaign, the forest gobs regularly got insane amounts of damage and kills. You can't underestimate the power of that lethal poison contact effect. It's not crazy, but at the same time, as long as they're on the field, as long as they're fighting, they're continuously doing damage over time, which can oftentimes lead them to do more damage than orc boys, biggins, and sometimes even black orcs. So again, not to be underestimated. We can also see the vast difference in the contact effects on the deaf creepers, which apply the deadly toxin or another different toxic venom to enemies in melee, and you can see that they got 33,000 damage, more than all the melee and range spiders as well. And an okay amount of damage out of the Snagless Death Thrower. It wasn't actually active for a lot of the battle, but it still worked out reasonably well. Plus, got a free Tormentor Sword out of it, which is always a nice thing to have. Anyway, we're going to... I'd like the money, but the control... If we take slaughter captives once per turn, every turn, we can essentially completely counteract the confederation debuff, meaning in this case where the money reward is relatively minor, I think we actually take the slaughter captives. Also, a great job to the forest gobs. We got the sneaky purple riders and the Griza jumpers as our named units in this particular army. We'll need more forest gob names. Anyway, well, I mean, that's generally true for all gobs. Go slaughter captives. Carnal Stare, you have ended our defensive alliance. I fear that Gorbad might have to go back through your territory and kill you all. I tried, guys. I really, really did. But now it might not be possible anymore. I mean, we don't really have anything else to give them. And unless they're immediately willing to go back into the alliance. And oh, now all of our allies will hate them because they broke our alliances. Carnal Stare. Rude. So rude. Alright, Confederation from Vissenland and Alden Nordland, not our problem, at least not yet, though it will eventually be, and frankly, Vissenland getting stronger before we arrive may not be a bad thing either. Grom Tormentor Sword. I guess you can hold on to this for now, though I'd wager we'll probably put this into a more range-heavy army than yours. Amug is one of these guys, I take it. And, oh. Amug got his, okay, everybody's ready for duty. Tactic removed from Gorbad. Amug got his spider, but Giblet did not. Fair enough. Oh, but he did reach rank, oh, it's rank 10 that we need for the love of, okay. I guess we're just gonna have to keep on waiting. Anyway, Gorbad. Which tactic did you lose? Not Gorbad's Boys, not Power of WAAAGH. I don't remember which one you had. Regimental. Oh, this one we actually have to get back. It's a high priority there. Alright, fine. Who are you again? Was I not intending to delete you? I guess we'll keep you for now, but none remains to be seen. Minus 73, eh? You know what? You know what, Mr. Shirks? Go find us a nice Skarsnik. I see Slagga Beard Taker. There he is. What you doing, little buddy? I got level 13 on you, and you're holding a nice pile of territory. I guess while Gorbad is here, might as well get the Warlord of 8 Peaks. Alright, Gorbad. Oh, though as soon as we attack him, this will re-up itself, which is annoying, but, well, it is what it is. Oh, I shouldn't have kept you in raiding. My bad, my bad. You go there. Let's not raid this anymore. Let's also upgrade you immediately, though we are losing, again, money. But it happens. Anyway, for now, you're going to... Oh. Black Orc Forge and Landmark will take both slots here, so I guess we'll build the pile of shiny stuff. Does this give us any direct money? It does not. Neither does this. Actually, frankly, this probably means this territory will most likely never generate a lot of cash, though I guess you want the raiding hideouts anywhere, so just build it anyway. Alright, there you go. Gorbad, I assume that this is auto-resolvable? It very much is. I mean, there's barely anything there. Auto-resolve. A little bit of damage, but nothing too concerning. 4.3k sack. Alright, let's find out if this one's worth it. 4.3k. Stop. Okay. Working. Oh, they really need to take out that mechanic where they move away like that. It can be really irritating. But anyway, Snotling Scavengers. Hey, the 8 peak loonies are up and running. That's, well, that'll be good for Scarsling. Oh, I also wanted to test this. Actually, I'm not sure how we test it, but since we don't have any lords, any new lords anymore anyway, we can feel free to put swindlers on y'all. You. That was 4.3k that we got out of sacking at Occupy. We can repair for cheaper. Again, the public order, provincial instability is going to be a problem here, but we got to waste time building the boss's tent and stuff anyway, so whatever. All good. Looks like this works reasonably well for this particular purpose. So, yeah, appreciate the tip. Anyway, what we've got to do next is raiding stashes or the horde, I guess. So we could also start on the, Gabo tunnels, but we could wait until tier 3 or rank 3 until we do it. So the raiding stashes, again, this place will never generate a lot of money, so the Gabo tents or whatever will probably be pretty good. Also, for allied with Moors, they should be able to take all the territory down here, and then we'll be good. Oh wow, Maggot is holding a lot of territory. 10 settlements, pretty good. We're strength rank 1 though, so we're not as concerned. Alright, so we can't attack a Wolfgang Essing here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna hope that these guys can stay as they are. Durbach, you're supposed to go into this army, which is a bit annoying because it's now on that side. Well, that is what it is as well. Things tend to be what they are. Anyway, Verdano, sack value is basically nothing, so I think we'll just occupy it. Oh, it'll probably be worth more next turn, but then we'd have to loop back around. Is that a bad thing? Maybe it isn't a bad thing. You know what? Go up to Tanea instead. Ignore Verdanos. And oh, you won't be raiding if I do this, will you? Or wait, can orcs go back into raiding stance? They cannot. Okay, well, too late. Alright, Glugzag, you sacked Kazad's citizen, and unfortunately I no longer remember how much it cost, so we're just going to occupy it, and... oh, those poor gobs. Occupy. I want to see that the repair costs are going to be here. Well, you're relatively minimal, but all of the buildings are gone. Depending on what buildings they were, it might have been worth it. Well, either way, at least we keep the tier 3, which was the biggest investment anyway. So raiding stashes into pile of shiny stuff. And I guess the question will be, do we want a Goblin Watchtower here? In theory, once we take Carrickzil, we should be able to move up here anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue for us. You know, just wait until that's figured out, until we build that building. We have a lot of territories where we're not collecting money anymore now, so it's kind of, you can build gobos and squigs, which doesn't do anything for us right now. You are waiting for these guys. Oh. Well, you know what? I guess we'll meet up here at Mermadan's. Everybody meet up together and then transfer your stuff. So, you're going to land, I guess, here. Here, please. Here. Oh, and... oh, right, we have 2 orc shamans. Okay, now I don't remember which one's supposed to go into which army. You have Big Stick, and then you have Greenaden Green. Frankly, they're both fine. We'll put 1 in each army. Oh, well, that means you can freely go into Munch Headbutt's army. Wait, no, wrong army. Blorg's army. He'll have Biggins. And he does not need that Goblin Big Boss, which is the Backstabber Big Boss, which is supposed to be with the Nasty Skulkers, which are in turn supposed to be with the... and they're supposed to be with the Savage Orc Army, which we can't afford yet, but we're working on it, guys. We're working on a lot of things. We've got our fingers in a lot of squigs. I wish I hadn't said that, but it's too late. Anyway, I think... alrighty, nobody take this out of context. Anyway, Munch Headbutt, you guys are fine where you are. As Drag One Finger, you're fine where you are. Grom, you should now be able to auto-resolve, or will you? These guys will have recovered some of their oh! Wow. Okay, well, sack Grimpeak. wonder what level it was. Either way, it's too much money to not sack it.
Who should we sack? Head bottom mork?
Especially since these are sort of outer territories and... Oh, there was a Tinkerer's bench here. Well, either way, it's going to cost us 3k to repair this. And thus we made a nice 7k. Wow, minus 3... what the heck happened? Damn. Okay, well, that's a lot. Not give it here, but camp ruckus everywhere. Faction destroyed. Clan Angrand. Oh, wow, that was easy. Poor Clan Angrand. I guess Skarsnik was doing not so horrifically bad after all. Anyway, boss's tent for you, and then I think we'll immediately go into the Gobbo tents this time. And we'll still build the other stuff, but, you know, eventually. Alright, anyway, who is up next? Munchad, but no, again. Alright, WAAAGH. Okay, so you guys, what is this? Clan Gnaw, oh no. Are they looking to take these territory? Oh, I don't like that. We were looking to take this territory ourselves. We are somewhat allied with you. I assume they're moving to take Zenris. I mean, we could give up the Isle of Zool, but again, I don't like that. Well, I guess that hasn't changed anything. So there's two things we want to do. Thing the first is give this guy some squigs, as one does. You get 2 squigs that we can take back to the regular night gobs. There we go. Then you have to move here to get ready for the attack by Karak Hearn, which will inevitably attack us, but you can probably fight them. You have everything you need for fighting stuff, minus the River Troll Hag and the various upgrades that we are eventually going to get you. Yeah, the rest of this is fine. And we'll probably give you, like, the rusty arrows or something, depending on if I put them in that army or another army. You will swap 2 goblins for 2 night goblins. Like so. We're gonna get rid of the night gobs. I mean, decent likelihood that they'll be useful elsewhere, but minus 4k. It's a little bit much. Delete those. And then you will move in raiding stance forward towards Zenris. I want to see if these guys say we're trespassing. No. Meaning they're either moving somewhere, they're at war with Karazkarak and North Confederacy, but I'm willing to bet they are trying to go for Zenris. I should have marched over here and then taken this earlier. But what can you do? Also, we do need more goblin big bosses. We can't afford a couple more. Hey, we have some. You are a regular goblin big boss with poisona on ya. We need... Oh, that was a night goblin big... no, we still can't afford more night goblin... or regular big bosses. We just have the night goblins. Well, darn. Well, Skarsnik's gonna need those, so at least he'll be happy. Someone will be happy. Anyway, what else do we have this turn? Scout. You are going to find Azag, see how he's doing with all that slaughtering, and then you are Goblin Big Boss with Wiggler. Oh, one we are going to keep, so you're going to move back around this way. Lovely. Alright, this stuff we're not going to do anything about. These places will not get taken by anything short of 2 stacks at once, and I just don't think the AI has it in it. At least right now. Still losing a lot of public order. Oh, the loss in public order is also making us make less money, isn't it? That's another issue that we're going to have to deal with right now. Oh, maybe it's not worth it to get the night gobs to get these guys perfect vigor. Perfect vigor is nice, but it's not like these guys are performing poorly or anything. I'll think about it. Also, what are their upgrades, incidentally? Oh, right, armor for them. Yeah, let's get Arda's nails, pump up those pump wagons a little bit further. Oh, wait, we were saving points. Never mind, because we wanted to get cunning influence and then, I guess, move towards subtle speculate and spellcrafting, rather. Alright, I believe that's all we gotta do this turn, unless there's a nice shaman or a nice black orc big boss that we want. We got Gork's Fist, we got Ticha, which I think we already have one in another army, but I don't dislike I don't dislike these. And they are fairly cheap to upkeep, so there's that. I just want to double check. Who has the other one? Oh, you have the other one. You have Ambitious. Oh. Teacher might be enabling us to get more biggins on field faster, since this guy's gonna keep his orc boys. Is there a black orc big boss building around here somewhere? that we can build a Black Orc Big Boss without traveling so far. Oh, we also have a Great Crappa and a Noxious River Troll Hag. We'll probably want to get one on the field somewhere. Yeah, the Black Orc Big Boss stuff is pretty darn far by the looks of it. Alright, fine. Maybe we just get 2 ambitious ones then. More physical resistance. Can't say I don't like it. Also give bolstered armor, which is nice. Oh! Wait, did I... A moment. Gorbad, you should probably have one for the bolstered armor. Wait, actually, should you? Do the tactical boys? Ah, they already give bolstered armor. I mean, I guess it would bolster the armor of the hog riders and the other boar boys. Wouldn't be a horrible idea. Alright, fine. It would be a boreable idea. Alrighty, I guess this wouldn't be super useful for Gorbad in particular, so we'll build the Night Goblet or Black Orc Big Boss. Alright. Go for the ambitious one. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll go for a glorious charge. Gork's Fist. In reality, it'll be Gorbad's Fist. Alright, I believe that's all we gotta do this turn, unless I'm mistaken. We'll double-check Diplo, then we'll do the money spending, the buildings, that's the one. Clan Moors, you want military access pack? That's fine. Keep friendly with Moors. Black Spider, Moon Howlers, that's all fine. Broken Nose, still very much willing to confederate. I mean, maybe we should just do it. They're probably not going to upgrade their territories. I'm a little bit worried that as soon as we do, the massive armies here from Kemlar will immediately march towards them, and that's concerning. On the other hand, they're weak now, and they'll probably never get weaker. Screw it. Might as well see if they have any interesting lords on them either, or as well. You've also got okay income here. You built a savage altar. Huh, interesting. Not what I was expecting. What do you have? The quickest. Don't like it, but you're gonna stay here just in case we need to spend a turn recruiting stuff. I'm not sure that we do. And now Kemlar might not see a... Ooh, Carrick Exfilaz is in very bad shape. We also need to then wipe out these guys, and then figure out some... Oh. Wood Elves nearby. Well, that's going to be concerning. Should we send some forest gobs to deal with the Wood Elves? Who better? Anyway, Elbog. Oh, we got a Black Orc Big Boss here. Bruza. Oh! I don't dislike that. And I also don't dislike the bonus casualty or punishment rate. Huh. This is pretty solid. Alright, you know what? You're going to move southward. We're going to make use of you, sir. In one of these armies. That was kind of serendipitous. I love it. Alrighty, let's do building. And the important ones, of course. That's the money ones and these lovely little Gobbo Town towers. You're good. You are upgraded to tier 4. You are fine. Wait, yeah, you're fine. Black Crag. Okay, yes. So this place, because of the stunty mine, generates tons of cash. Almost tempted to get rid of the building to stop reduction of the cash, but keep it for now. I'll probably deal with it later. You are going to get a Raiden stashes and... we obviously need the boss's tent. Oh, we don't have room for a... I guess we get rid of the Black Orc barracks? We could just get rid of the stakes. Frankly, I don't think anybody's going to take Black Crag. I just sincerely doubt it, even if it's a full stack, so we'll get rid of the stakes. Oh, it does provide bonus control, but the... yeah, we'll get the bonus control from the other thing anyway. And by the other thing, I mean the boss's tent. Anyway, Gobbo City is the important one. You're also going for the Gobbo tunnels, so you can build it and get more money. More Raiden stashes, always more Raiden stashes. You are going to go for the Horde. And let's see what we got here. We could upgrade Doc Karaz or Barrack Dawazbeg. Doesn't really matter which, just make sure to upgrade one. A River whatever-ose. Skiros. The Horde. And oh. You know what, maybe it's better to upgrade these now, because they will be able to give us ports, meaning more money, and this should be one of our bigger money-making provinces. And, oh wow, I forgot how many territories, how many minor territories we have. Flying Fortress, I'd love to upgrade you, but I also love to keep the money, so we're not gonna. I think that's it. And just to double check, none of these places can collect or should be collecting money right now. We can, however, build the boss's shack here, preemptively. For when we're ready. And Mount Silver Spear, I guess you need a boss's tent as well. Boss should have a tent and or shack everywhere. Isle of Zool. I'm not going to invest in you right now. I feel like that's a bad idea and a waste in case somebody attacks at Lycoris. You're kind of in the same situation. Somebody might take you over. I doubt it, but it's possible. We'll see. Skip, 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 skip. Outpost available. Oh, right. These annoying jerkos. Why did you break that agreement? You still like us? What the heck is going on with you? Frickin' Carnal Stare. What was the point of that? I went out of my way not to destroy you anyway, in turn. I'm gonna take this personally. The Greybeard's Prospector should know I hold a grudge. Go figure. The North Confederacy will attempt to attack Ublug. I was not expecting them to be so close to us. I do wonder... I mean, unfortunately, his army isn't upgraded, so these are basic gobos without all the fancy stuff. We do have a few pump wagons, but they're not the spiky rollers. These guys are reinforcements. So the question would we be able to destroy this army before they arrive? And I'm gonna say probably not. At least not without maybe an ambush or something like that. We could destroy the first army, but I fear the unupgraded gobs don't have it in them. We're going to retreat and see if they follow. Oh. One army will attack us. That's a little better. Close to feed casualties high. We obviously lost our raiding stance, so whatever we got out of that. And the Knights of the Black Rose are still going to be annoying, but this is a lot more manageable. Supremely manageable. Go.
Rip out their throats!
Alright, here we go. This is our Wolf Raider army, and it's time for it to debut. Just the start of the army, of course, as it still needs a lot of extra units, a lot of modifications and stuff, but, well, we gotta get the army started. And don't worry, we will be using some wolves with other armies, but this is gonna be the Wolf-centric army in particular. We also do want an army to get the Wolf Raider plan, the one that gives us all that bonus sacking and raiding, because, well, we can send these guys around to raid enemy territories. Depending on whether it makes them worth it, it might even be... I just had a thought. The Wolf army with the massive increase to raiding might actually make the Wolf army not only free, but actually make money, which might in theory allow us to have a lot of free Wolf armies running around and annoying the enemy all over the place. I'm going to give that some thought, because there is another... I want to say that there is a plan that also reduces by 50% the upkeep costs of... wolves? I know it does for squigs. I think it does for wolves as well. So if that is indeed the case, with 50% upkeep reduction on them, and massively increased raiding power, we might indeed be able to get a bunch of these guys just all over the place. They don't necessarily need to fight, just to raid and annoy enemies in general. And then pick up the occasional easy settlement sacks in places. Feels appropriate. Almost like a Hobgob Connet type of composition. But for regular gobs and their wolves. Anyway, all that aside, we started the battle by facing off against the enemy pistoliers with our goblin wolf rider archers, and then more importantly, over on this side, we caught a unit of handgunners with a couple of our melee units of the wolf riders. Their stats are still atrocious. I mean, they're still a tier 1 unit at 28-28, but at least against units like handgunners and crossbows, they shouldn't have too much trouble. More importantly than that, perhaps, 2 of our units of wolf rider archers have been sent to deal with the enemy Knights of the Black Rose. They have effectively no hope of doing any damage to them. We've got 117 armor, directional shielding, and these guys are going to be blocking plenty of shots. But what we are going to do here is lead them around on a merry wolf chase and just waste their time. Their participation in combat on the main line would potentially be devastating to us, heavily armored, bleed-causing, and probably fear-causing as well. And we certainly don't want them interfering, especially as our basic gobs need help. Especially as these aren't buffed basic gobs like they are in the Goblin Ingenuity army, as the Wolf army is, well, supposed to be only or primarily with the wolves. Looks like the enemy Empire captain has been defeated by the Goblin Big Boss, who's going to try to chase him down, while the regular gobs face off against all of these halberdiers. The enemy melee line has at last arrived, but our units of fast movers continue to divide, conquer, and annoy the enemy. More wolf raiders moving around. The Goblin Wolf Chariots are working together with the pump wagons and the melee units of wolf riders, and heading into the enemy backline now that the enemy's melee have all engaged. Alright, decent little charge from the Goblin Wolf Chariots just as the WAAAGH activates. And we wasted the enemy's time aplenty while they had to climb that hill towards our melee gobs, knowing that they couldn't possibly catch the wolf raiders. Alright, very, very nice. The enemy's range line is pretty much obliterated at this point. We're also going to get a little bit of support from our Goblin Wolf Rider archers by having them fire into the back of these spears with the shields. Can't be blocking those shots. Minor damage though they may be, but you can't be blocking them with your shields when you're taking it in the back of the head. Lovely. And it looks like by virtue of that, these spearman units will be obliterated rather quickly, even without the damage reflection we've gotten used to on our Goblin Spear armies. And another WA will activate as this unit wavers and soon begins to rout. It looks like our rear-charging pump wagons have also forced at least one of the enemy halberdier units to flee. There is also an enemy general of the Empire around, and we're just distracting him with a single unit of gobs. Wow, and he's whacking away at them with a Warhammer. Good for him. Although, the Warhammer looks very, very strange here. It's a magical Warhammer, guys. It does that on its own. Let's go with that. Anyway, the Knights of the Black Rose still have not joined the fray, and I just want to point out, we've lost 80% of the ammunition on the Goblin Wolf Rider archers. They've done, what, 5%? Barely 10% damage to the Knights of the Black Rose there, and a lot of the ammunition from this Goblin Wolf Rider Archer unit was also spent on those Knights of the Black Rose. They've just peeled away to make sure that they chase down and destroy that unit of handgunners. On the bright side, the enemy's main line is very much on the verge of collapse. Halberdier and spear alike are fleeing the left flank, and while the enemy's center is still in the fight with formerly four, well, I guess that one was on the right flank as well. 3 units sort of fighting together. Soon enough, our other units will be able to regroup, consolidate, and then start attacking these guys all at once. In fact, they're going to do so right now. Nice rear charge from the pump wagons, who looks like they still have enough mass to push through all those halberds despite the fact that they charged uphill. And now they're going to start sending them flying, disrupting their formation, and hopefully allowing even the gobs to do sufficient damage to send them running as well. Getting some great fights in this particular episode, and certainly working for our victories, which I think I mentioned in an earlier fight I really do enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I love seeing a line of black orcs just run at the enemy and then cut them all down and, you know, unga bunga, no damage, no thinking, only greenskins. But in terms of just playing, in terms of the micro aspect, for those who enjoy micro anyway, the goblin armies are much more fun in that regard. They don't look as cool doing it, but they are very fun to play. Anyway, the battle is ours, the enemy is destroyed, and we will chase down and kill every single thing we can. I imagine the Knights of Black Rose have escaped because, I mean, we were able to distract them for the entire battle, but there was no way to chase them down and actually kill them because we didn't have the damage. Alrighty, there we go. A really nice fight, I gotta say. We were able to pull it off by distracting the Knights of the Black Rose, which we had no hope of actually defeating in combat. Well, maybe if we surrounded them with the pump wagons, admittedly, but either way. The name of the game when you use a Raider Wolf army, as is this one, is Divide and Conquer, and we certainly did divide, and we certainly did conquer. A lovely little fight. Now, our big boss did get tremendously beat up there, and unfortunately this means we're going to have to eat captives rather than take the money and slaughter captives. If you're wondering why, it's because we're probably in chaos territory still, and because we backed off, we're no longer in raiding stance, and thus the attrition would most likely kill him, as he, well, nearly died in the battle, dueling this Empire captain, which also survived with a tiny bit of HP. Alrighty, well, we'll eat the captives, and besides, the other army will probably attack us, so we'll probably still need even more healing. A new regional power, Vissenland. You know what? Maybe it's a good thing that we waited as long as we did for before we attacked them, because I like the fact. Oh, you didn't kill them, did you? I hope that Skarsnik isn't dead, because I don't see him anymore. Maybe he's ambushing. But anyway, I'm gonna hope that Vissenland. Oh, I really don't want to lose Kirignar. Oh, it's already got sacked. Well, actually, the landmark here is kind of garbage. Where the heck is Skarsnik? We almost had all of 8 peaks. He screwed us by disappearing. Well, I'm just gonna hope he's out there somewhere, and we're gonna move forward into his... oh, if we move into his territory, he's not gonna like that. Kvinvir is our territory, but we can't quite go that far. Oh, also regimental. Let's get you that back. The greatest warlord, not what we need. Power of the... oh, it's right there. Good job, Ruinous. Alright, anyway, the fact that the great power has been... who are you? Getter Bear Burner? I don't think Scavengers should go on Lords. Ruby Ring of Ruin for a Blug. No, we're going to turn that into something more useful. Namely... oh. Sort of Swift Striking and Berserker Sword fuse into an Ogre Blade. Ugh. And I don't particularly like those either. And... okay, I guess we got nothing else to fuse. Fine, fair enough. Ready for duty, Gouger. There's that Ogre Blade. Did I do the thing? Did I do the roar? I mean, did I get the regimental thing for Gorbad? I think I did. Alrighty, anyway. I guess we could go right to the edge of our own territory rather than trespass, just in case. Like so. And you're going this way. Hopefully Skarsnik isn't dead, because he's certainly being overwhelmed by Queeky. Queeky does like us, so we're not likely to get into a fight with him. Oh, nobody else wants to confederate. That's so rude. Crooked Moon wants some military access, but I think there's no real necessary need to do it. If only we could... wait. Join war against the Western Provinces. No, it's no dice. Alright. I just wanted to see whether we could do that and force him into the war. Are you guys damaged? Yeah, see, I can't tell whether they're damaged from fighting Skarsnik or whether they're damaged from sacking Kirignar. Alright, we'll just hope that Skarsnik's still here and hidden. Anyway, Gorbad, you stick around at least for a little bit. It's delaying your trip to Vissenland. And oh, right, before I interrupted myself like 16 times, it's good that they became a regional power, because that means that Vissenland is particularly strong, 26 settlements, and thus we'll have a lot more fun when we properly invade it, as Gorbad is fated to do. Anyway, back to Blorg. Now, Blorg... you still can't move. Your was about to go, but that is what it is. You're gonna take Tanae real quick. And... really? This? Wait, is it a minor settlement? Walled settlement? Oh! Wait, no, it isn't. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to fight that as well. Kemmler hasn't moved. Why? He's no longer in a deadlock with the Skaven. Maybe he's fighting another Skaven? Okay, well, whatever, just leave him alone. You are going to start moving towards Zerixzil, I guess. Since we're on the way. Like so. And we'll take Kemmler's capital. You are going down to meet some of our other armies. Klubba, stay there. And I'm tempted to temporarily delete... oh, we have a virtual hag building. You know what, maybe we should delete... wait, is this place being raided? Collected income... oh, it's the Confederation. I guess we could remove the spider monument. We need public order, and there's a bunch of other... I think we might need defenses here at Carrick-Exfala, so delete that for now. We'll fix the territory later. For now, it's more critical that we do what we're doing. You need to go to Matorka, which you can't do this turn, and the reason for that is we need you... Wait. You actually need to go further. You need to go... Actually, where the heck do you need to go? You need to go here. We need to recruit 2 Doom Divers. I guess we also need to build the Doom Diver building. I was also looking to build the Giants, but again, kinda can't afford them. I mean, we could probably do 2 and just live with the extra minus 800 gold per turn loss. There's potential. Anyway, you're gonna fight in a second, Mr. Arguor Grom. You have taken Grim Peak, which is great. It's grim and it's great, and you can also be upgraded. Question is, where do we send you off to now? I assume we're not going to get into a fight with the Moonhowlers. They should be okay, hopefully. Thus, you can start moving up here. I think we're gonna need your help, Forest Gobs. I can't go past this. Alright, fine, fair enough. March stance. Oh, that's an extra 300 gold per turn, but what can you do? You got places to be. Alrighty, that's you, and WAAAGH, you are stuck where you are. Frankly, WAAAGH shouldn't even be commanding this particular army, but it is what it is. These guys are in march stance, eh? Still possible to destroy them. You have the Rider's trait, which, funnily enough, actually works for us. And if we give you hard as nails, T-Frobas, we get the... Goblin Wolf Chariot's powered up. The thing is, we still need a non-Dashrumiest guy commanding these guys. We're gonna reset you, but let's do Arda's name. Well, actually, you know what? I lied. Let's do Itchy Nuisance. I actually don't know why you don't have that. You are fine, assuming you don't die. Do we need any, or can we use any? We can use this thing, Missile Cavalry and Chariot units, since for now at least we have Goblin Infantry, which is not going to be the case later. And then Raiden parties will definitely be something we want, but a different lord will be commanding these units. But for now... Actually, it's not like we'll be raiding or sacking or looting anything right now. What is this? Stick 'em like pigs for Spear Infantry. Oh, this thing's back up and running. We do want this, but we want this on Grom, before I forget. Which is a distinct possibility. So let's do stick 'em like pigs, buff up those Forest Gabo spears. And it does work on them. Beautiful. And, oh, also, I just wanted to see... nobody's reached rank 7 yet. I want to see if that passive will actually work on the non-Regiment of Renown, because it's a possibility. Anyway, I guess this is a wolf... wolf... not faction. Battle. Nope. Spiky rollers? Okay, we're just going to have to deal with what we've got. Damaged though our army is, let's see how our Wolf Raiders handle themselves. I guess handle themselves again. Go again. Alrighty, here we go, round 2 for Mr. WAAAGH here. Let's see how he do. Frankly, if he survives this, I was going to delete him or maybe use him as a recruiter lord, but if he survives this again, fighting a better army than his with just basic tier 1 units and nothing else, I think we will have him lead an army. I don't particularly like his trait, as the missile block chance trait is much superior, and that's the trait we'll want for our wolf army. They'll really need the help to block some of the enemy shots, but at the same time, I'm sure we can find an army for this guy to lead. It's not like the fact that they get an Arachnarok mount doesn't make them universally useful. Plus, outside of spiders and outside of wolves, they do have a universal trait that just gives us, I think, 10% speed to the entire army and a little bit of campaign movement range as well. None of which is all that bad. Anyway, our Goblin Big Boss is just sitting out of it, 92 HP, can't contribute or participate, but who knows, we might be able to use him to chase enemies down if we manage to defeat the enemy army, which remains to be seen. In the meantime, though, our Wolf Riders and our Wolf Chariots are just irritating the enemy army as best they can, specifically targeting the Pistoliers first so that they don't do to us what we're doing to them. Also, pistoliers are absolutely garbage in melee, much worse in fact than even the goblins. And thus we're just going to charge them. In theory, the pistoliers have better stats, but because of the model size of the wolf riders, which are much smaller, many more of them are able to attack individual units at once, and the pistoliers quickly get overwhelmed, obliterated, and having done no damage to the wolves. Now, the wolves can apply that range fire to the halberdiers, which, luckily for us, don't have shields, and thus we should be able to destroy this unit as well. After the outriders are chased down and destroyed at any rate. Alright, we also do have to keep in mind that the enemy's unit of Knights of the Black Rose have made their way onto the battlefield, and thus we've got another job for one of our Goblin Wolf Rider units. Just like last battle, they're going to annoy the Knights of the Black Rose until they give chase to them, and then spend the entire time just leading them on that merry wolf chase. In the meantime, the battle proper is about to be joined. We have taken up position on top of this hill and between these two rock formations or cliff sides. Enemy will move on up and take a pretty bad position, and we are going to take advantage of that. At the same time, we send all of our pump wagons charging through the entire battle line, and then we pop up with that itchy nuisance, reducing all the enemy's melee attack to 0 and allowing all of our pump wagons to stay in combat as long as that itchy nuisance is up without fear of getting obliterated. A nice combination, and it should, in theory, allow us to destroy these 3 or 4 enemy melee units. And yep, all 4 enemy units are pretty much done for already. It was a very nice charge. That said, that's only the beginning. The enemy's got plenty more melee units where that came from. 2 coming up this side of the cliff and 2 on this side, and that's why we've left plenty of goblins on both our left and right flank to hold these enemies back. Really, that's all they have to do. They just have to distract them, hold them back. They don't have to deal them damage because our fast movers are riding around, killing off all the enemy range and any isolated units as well. Divide and conquer strat certainly worked very well the first time around against these guys, and WAAAGH will repeat that learned strategy here again. Plus, let's face it, goblins aren't known as the most likely to engage in a fair fight. Alrighty, and our WAAAGH is active as well. Took a little bit longer this time than previously. The WAAAGH activation is depending on how many units are in melee, so I guess we were waiting for the rest of the enemies to close and for us to allow our other goblins that were protecting the flanks to help out. Anyway, this fight's probably going to go on for a while, just between the goblins and the halberds, but that's alright. We got crossbows who have been charged by the goblin wolf raiders, who should have no problem tearing them to shreds. Poor Imperial melee. Now, if this was a dwarf army, this would have been a much bigger problem, as the Wolf Raiders are probably too weak to take out a unit of Quarrelers. At least by themselves. 2 smashing into a unit of Quarrelers from both sides might be able to do it. But 1, no way. At least without some crazy buffs, but I don't think that we get any kind of too crazy buffs that would enable our Wolf Riders to be strong enough to fight a unit of Quarrelers, especially with great weapons directly. Though we'll see what they look like by the end of the game, with high veterancy and with all their max upgrades and techs. And scrap upgrades, of course. Should still be pretty interesting. Anyway, the balance of power has shifted to about 70% in our favor. The Knights of the Black Rose did actually manage to catch the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, unfortunately, and heavily damage them. It's my bad. Every time I trust the skirmish mode, I come to regret it. And I just never learn with it, because I always think, I'll just leave them on skirmish mode for a bit, they'll be fine without me babysitting every single unit on the battlefield, but nope. As soon as I leave them in skirmish mode, they will inevitably somehow fail it, despite being like twice as fast as the enemy unit. But all good. Anyway, we're going to repeat the same thing we did earlier as we pop that itchy nuisance and then we charge in with the pump wagons. Unfortunately, our pump wagons have suffered a fair bit of damage over the course of the battle, and even with itchy nuisance, they really can't be in combat against halberdiers for much longer. Not an ideal unit to face off against with pump wagons, I'll admit. Especially as these are the base non-spiky roller variants. They're also not going to stay in this army, and granted, I don't dislike the idea of the spiky rollers. Maybe we'll just leave like 2 or a few of them with the wolves. For those rare situations where we, well actually, they might not even be that rare. I was about to say, for those situations where we are forced to get the wolf army into melee, considering the fact that they have very little armor piercing, especially in late game, they might need the spiky rollers to help them out. And the reason that I was saying is that it's not actually all that unlikely is this. If we take a look at all of our Wolf Rider archers, they're out of ammunition. Every single one of them is. In fact, the chariots, the wolf chariots and the spider rider archers, or wolf riders, they're all very, very light on ammunition, which is a little bit annoying because they're not strong units. They're annoying, but they're not going to do damage. Even for a light cav, they're pretty weak. Certainly weaker than the wolf raiders of the hobgob variety. Probably equivalent to Kossovite dervishes, or maybe slightly better, or Kossovite archers. Kossovite horse archer? I can't remember the name of the unit exactly, but anyway. They're weak in terms of their damage, and they also have a bad habit of not spreading their shots enough, meaning that they sort of have a bad tendency to occasionally focus one unit in the blob, and that ain't great. But anyway, very, very low armor-piercing damage at only 2. Slightly better than a Skaven Slave unit, Skaven Slave Slinger, but barely. So unless we can upgrade them, they'll never do a lot of damage, and that is why I was a little bit annoyed at the fact that they have so little ammunition to them, because regardless of how much ammunition they had, they weren't ever going to do all that much damage. And certainly there are a bunch of units from various factions that have almost infinite ammunition, like I want to say Thunderers have a lot of ammunition. I think Grudge Rakers have tons and tons of ammunition as well. That's dwarfs though, so you do expect them to have supply lines, but I don't know. Wolf Raiders, considering that's their way of life, raiding and all that, you'd think they'd bring plenty of ammo on Wolfback. Hopefully we can upgrade them to be able to fire off more. Anyway, regardless, ammo being limited or not, they were able to once again divide, conquer, destroy, and give their wolves a nice meal against the North Confederacy. Pyrrhic victory, certainly, but the first of the wolves have earned their stripes. Alrighty, very, very nice. Ublug gets another victory. Ain't it beautiful? And we've still got about half of our army remaining, so it's, well, it's relatively okay. A little bit unfortunate to be getting XP on a lord that we didn't want for this particular purpose, but, well, somebody had to deal with these guys, and it turned out to have to be Ublug. Anyway, 3.6k. Not bad. I'd love to take the extra 2k, although again, we might want to just slaughter the captives so that we get the counter-confederation control. 2,000 gold for that. It's expensive, but it is what it is. Gotta take it. Alrighty, and are we... Okay, both these armies are destroyed. Another swindler. We're just swimming in swindlers, and oh, they didn't colonize it. Alright, fine, we'll colonize Zenris. This will allow us to heal, and we'll move on towards Vitrol and see if the rats have taken it over. I guess we can also upgrade it because it's relatively minimal. Alright, well done, Ublug. You've reached rank 10, so I guess we're going to get you wolf-hearted for that frenzy for the wolves. And speaking of the wolves, you should be now upgraded to a Wolf Rider, and then you should be upgraded to a Wolf Rider as well. That's why we got the gobs in this army in the first place, so that eventually they'd reach enough ranks to be upgraded to wolves, as this is our Wolf Raider whatever army. And certainly by the sort of divide and conquer type of battle style that they've got feels very, very different from a lot of the other units. which is nice, or all of the other armies. But I guess generally speaking, all of our armies are different from each other, and that's the whole point. Anyway, Blorg Radar. You guys are still at Mermadans, and oh, okay, unfortunately, I guess we're out of time. I got excited about fighting more stuff. Frankly, this one's kind of meh. I might fight this between the episodes, I might not, depending on if I forget. I mean, I guess it is another opportunity to see the Savage Orc, or not Savage Orc, just the regular Berserk boys in action, generally speaking. And, oh, actually, speaking of, you can be Orc Overwhelming Rage. Like so. Just had to put at least one name in there. Anyway, yeah, we'll deal with that next episode, as well as trying to get Skarsnik, hopefully. I hope he doesn't... I hope he's here in ambush or something. And what we really don't want to lose is Karagloon, because it's still a decent territory. I don't really care about 8 Peaks, or not the dwarfs, and it's kind of And most of the, with the exception of, I guess, the Groby town at Karagmonar, most of these landmarks are kind of meh, to be perfectly honest. I don't dislike the Silver Tower, so Karagril and Karagloona would be at least potentially nice. Does seem likely that we'll lose Karagnar here to the Clan Moorscaven, but at the same time, this is probably completely... it's just a completely useless landmark, so who cares? Anyway, we'll deal with that next time. We might have to deal with Khorne, because the reasons. Anyway, we will probably move north towards the North Confederacy, and then we'll most likely send the Night Gobs to start on Karak-Hearn, since they declared war on us. Gotta be wary of Karak-Azor and their declaration of war, and then of course Glugzag with his army will be taking out Karakzul, and then moving on to trying to fight Kemler, though I feel like we'd need another army to reinforce, or at least a new WAAAGH once this is over. Also got to keep in mind that the human trophy, the big Yumi's trophy, will go away, and we'll lose 2 control faction-wide, as the elven trophy is kind of vastly inferior. Anyway, more fun orky times ahead, so stay tuned for it. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes if you're into that sort of thing. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.